how I went from the worst health of my life to pretty healthy. First of all, respect to you because this is a long, unedited, low dopamine guide, and there's no clickbait or sound effects or all of the editing stuff that you see on YouTube. So if you've chosen to watch this video, then you clearly have a top 1% attention span of the world. So respect for having that and for being here and getting some real education. This is my promise with this guide that you're watching today. I'll teach you how I first fucked up my health so that you can avoid it. And then I'll teach you how I improved my health so that you can fast track it. Quick introduction from me. My name is Hamza and I make videos that save lives, so you can subscribe right now and you'll see more long, unedited guides on your homepage, because if you don't subscribe often, they won't get sent to you and then you'll miss out on them. And also, if I've changed your life already, you could go leave like a nice comment below, by the way, with your story of like how these videos have helped you, because you might help another guy who's reading it. And if I do see it, then I'll give it like a little heart and everything. Get emails to help you improve your life and become more attractive. Go sign up with the link in the description right now. Top link in the description. Basically, sign up to my email list. I send out really, really detailed emails. If you're watching this kind of long, unedited guide, I think you'll like this like intellectual content. Basically, I send out massive emails as a guide, and I break down things that you need, for example, to like go cold approach people and improve your workflow and focus and attracting girls, everything. I think you'll really like that. If you enjoy reading, just go click the top link in the description, sign up, takes like 20 seconds, and then you can come back here. Let's begin. So there's three things we're going to cover, which is what caused my health to deteriorate, how I improved my health, and then basically the 80-20, the fastest things that you can do, like the most important things you can do to improve your health. Let's go over what caused my health to deteriorate in the first place. So this was me in 2022, I'd say about probably around June or July, where I was in the gym, training with friends, like looking big, athletic and everything, making really good progress. I was going to kickboxing. This was me coming back from like sparring, looking happy, clean and everything. This is me on FaceTime with my then girlfriend. We've split up since then, but like, really happy relationship and everything. And then this is 6 months later where I'm in surgery, which we'll talk about soon. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that I actually could have died. Like a small percentage chance I could have actually died in the surgery. And I'll explain why I'm not like clickbait or exaggerating there. I just look unhealthy, flabby face, weird spots and everything, just clapped like style, not looking attractive. Physiques went to shit and everything. Confidence went to shit. Relationships was all fucked up. Everything really went downhill, and we'll talk about what created this change so that you can hopefully avoid that. And this is the massive list of things that happened. I sacrificed exercise for business, for money. I then had a worse physique, which fucked me up psychologically. I got anxiety in London because of seeing what happens in like cities and seeing some dangerous shit. So I'll break down what happened there. I was eating from restaurants all the time, seed oils, gaining weight and stuff. I lived in London, then I moved to Dubai, and there was so much air pollution, and no one talks about how air pollution will fuck up your health and literally make you like less successful, less healthy, less happy. I had business stress. We weren't profiting, and the daily uploads on YouTube that I was making at the time, I was very burnt out, and I didn't know the signs of burnout, and so that was just pushing me to my edge. I had worsening relationships with my girlfriend and then also my best friend. I had a medical condition, which you might even have as well, which is called varicocele, which affects your testosterone fertility, basically your balls. That's why I was getting that surgery. Before the surgery, I partied and I drank and I smoked, and that fucked me up, because then when I actually had the surgery, I went under general anesthetic and it went wrong. I woke up in ICU. I couldn't breathe. I was choking on my own blood. It was fucked up. And so all of that basically led here. So we'll go through in order. The first thing that I did to cause my health to deteriorate was that I sacrificed exercise for business or for money. Basically, I got into this like anti-gym mindset because I thought it was an inefficient waste of time and I could just make more money. Basically, like Tate went really viral, and he was saying, this was like 2022, so when he was first going really, really viral, and he was saying like he doesn't go to the gym because it's not really worth it for him, so he'll just do like push-ups at home. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like so cool. So I started doing like like this autistic analysis of how much my hourly rate was. Where, I was already like making a fuck ton of money back then. This was 2022. I had about 1 million subscribers. I was making maybe $20,000-$30,000 a month. And I calculated basically that I was going to spend over $1 million of my time in the gym per year, which I know that a lot of people wouldn't understand that. But basically, I was making about $1,000 an hour back then, which I know sounds stupidly crazy, but it's the truth. I was making about $1,000 an hour. And I calculated that I'd probably spend about like close to like 1,000 hours a year in the sort of gym block, not just in the gym training, but like you stop working, then you get changed, then you go to the gym, you commute to the gym, you do the workout, you talk for a little bit, then you come back home, you commute in, then you're showering up and stuff. I basically found that like I was losing a lot of my time that I could put into making money instead. And so I decided to just like, do push-ups at home like Tate. Well, then I just didn't even do the push-ups. So I stopped going to the gym and I didn't even do anything at home, literally didn't even go on walks or anything. So my exercise went from this huge part of my life that, I used to do every single day for years to literally zero, because I was in this like only money matters mindset. So of course, like you've heard of the benefits of exercise. Basically, I lost all of them immediately. But then the next thing that happened, of course, was that my physique got worse. So this psychologically fucked me up to see my physique get worse, because bodybuilding had been such an important part of my life. A lot of my like ego and self-image was attached to my physique. Maybe in a little bit of a vanity way, but also just because, it's something that I was progressing. It was like a skill, like a hobby that I had that I really enjoyed. I really liked the lifestyle. It meant a lot to me. It was a part of my identity, and it was a clear indicator of my hard work and consistency. And then I just lost that because I just stopped going to the gym. Like I started going to the gym basically less than like once a week. And even then when I'd go, I wouldn't train hard because I'd be kind of out of it and everything. And so my physique just went like really trash. Like basically you could find people on the street who look like this, who don't even ever train. And this is what I started to look like. And of course, like when I, would see myself in the mirror, it would make me feel bad like every single day seeing that. Along with this was also just the general appearance as well, because when this was happening, to cope with me not training, I had to get into this mindset of like, oh, I don't care how I look. I'll just let my beard grow out, let my hair grow out. Like, I don't really care how I look. I'll wear whatever I want. And there's so many guys who are like this, right? Like less so now because looks maxing and everything's getting more important. But traditionally, like a lot of men have this, like, I don't care how I look. And at least for me personally, when I'm in that kind of mindset, I want to go out less. Like I'm less social. I'm less confident. I meet less people. I like, you don't want to go out as much. Like when you look really nice, I know this is a low quality, it's a screenshot, but when you've like, dressed nice and you've got a nice haircut and everything, you've got nice jewelry, you feel confident, you actually want to go out and you want more people to see you. You want to speak to more people. You want to make more friends. You want girls to walk past. When you like stop caring as much, that's when you almost want to get into this more reserved, shy hermit mode, which of course we know is not good for your health because it fucks up like your relationships and everything. So imagine this, in just the space of a couple of months, my physique goes to shit and also my look goes to shit as well. I probably dropped down, like, what would you say, like 2 points in attractiveness, maybe 3 out of 10. Like if I was probably about like a 7 in the face and maybe like a 8 in total because of the physique and the money, the status and stuff, I probably went down to like what, a 4 or a 5 in my face, right? Just like fucking clapped beard, clapped hair and shit. And obviously like that fucks up your health because you psychologically feel less happy about being yourself when you're not as attractive. Of course, improving your appearance can also lead to like body image issues and insecurities. There's a lot of attractive people out there that aren't mentally healthy because they have like, more expectations and everything. But generally, if you do become less attractive, you are going to feel like less healthy, less happy. So I moved to London around this time. I was living in the same city I'm in right now, which is just kind of like this somewhat rurally place. And I moved to the big city for the first time. And I had heard really bad things about London, that there's so much knife crime and everything. But I thought it was, I don't know, like a bit of an exaggeration. But I moved to London and within a few days, I see the first thing, which was just weird. It was like I was in a restaurant, which you could see this, the picture's really zoomed in, by the way. I'm surprised the quality's that good, actually. But yeah, you could see this, like this train station, this like tube station here in London. And it was this guy who was like, he was drinking alcohol and he was just walking around and like swearing at people and like, like threatening people. And it pissed me off because I had been in a situation like that before, but what happened before was that I had two racist guys who had a knife on them, and they blamed me for this terrorist attack that happened in Manchester like a few years ago. One of the guys was arrested. He was put into prison for 1.5 years. He's out now as well, somewhere on the fucking streets. But yeah, so like anything in like public transport kind of gets me a little bit. Also, I recorded this video thinking that, oh yeah, like, you know, it's an interesting thing to like show to the world and stuff. And I got so much fucking hate for it because people were like, oh, well, Hamza, you talk about masculinity. Why didn't you go down and like fight him or something? I was like, one, I'm not going to go fight a fucking stranger who might have a knife. Go like shut the fuck up, first of all. And two, like maybe it's not so clear, but like I'm like 2 stories up in a restaurant. Like I'm not in the tube station, and just logically I knew like I wouldn't be able to fucking like run there fast enough, like where you had to like go leave the restaurant I was in like a shopping center, leave that, go across the street, get into the tube station. It was like 1 platform over, so you had to go underground to get to it stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm not fucking Superman, and I'm not going to like go and try and get into a fight with someone who's like, yeah, he's being a bit threatening, but he's not getting violent with anyone. I'm not going to run up and be like, hey, like, yeah, put your focus on me, whatever. If you think I did the wrong thing, most likely, let's be honest, you're probably a fucking pussy and you wouldn't have done it either. So just don't fucking chat shit, right? I was a solid, like, if I sprinted, it still would have taken me at least 1.5 minutes to get there. And he actually got onto the next tube anyway. So it would, like, whatever. I don't have any guilt for not intervening at all, because and the reason why is because I know I'm that guy who would if it was practical enough. Maybe it's just you can't really clearly see it, but basically that situation where I was in first, it was basically the exact same situation, but just with like 2 white guys, not a black guy, where it was after the Manchester bombing. There was a woman in a hijab, there was a woman in a hijab with her little daughter, and these 2 guys were harassing her and shouting at her and being racist, and I stepped in and protected her. So I know that I'm that guy who can like walk in and try and protect someone if I feel like, you know, they're being hurt or bullied or something. But yeah, it was, I think that added, you know, the backlash I got from this moment where my own fans started to like disrespect me and say like, oh, well, you know, you're such a pussy. You all this time you've been talking about masculinity, like get fucked, first of all. But yeah, I think that added to like a bit of the health hit for me personally, because I was like, that made me, you know, it was 2 things. It was like, one, I felt unsafe. It brought up like almost PTSD and like previous trauma that I had kind of repressed. And then I also had like my own work sort of businessy thing kind of like getting worse at the same time as well. And it was putting me in this, you know, this hyper vigilant state for the next few days where I was like, oh, like if I see him, should I hit him and then record it or something? You know, imagine I'm getting so many random fucking thoughts. Instead of being here and enjoying myself and just trying to focus on work, I was starting to think like what kind of person I should be when it comes to like these like potentially violent moments in public. And the second was there was a Deliveroo driver. Deliveroo is like the Just Eat, you know, like one of those like food delivery companies where the guys go around on like mopeds and cycles and stuff. And he got robbed outside of the streets that me and my girl were staying in. So we look outside of the window because there's some shouts and whatever. And there's literally 2 guys like punching up this this driver and like trying to like take the bag of food and trying to take his little scooter and everything. It was just fucking absurd, man. And they don't end up taking his scooter because he kind of like pushes them away. Then he's calling for the police. He's calling for help. Then people come, and so they run away. I called the police in my apartment as well. And I won't lie to you, like the police came very quickly. Like I'm talking literally like 2 minutes later, they were there. Like they were there very quickly. I remember thinking like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that, you know, in busy London or whatever. And they probably got away though. But yeah, like that was the street literally right outside of the apartment we were staying at, where my girlfriend was going on walks. Like she literally walked that exact same street literally just 24 hours ago at about the same time as well. Like it was like 6 p.m. It wasn't even like that late or anything. And so I started to not feel safe at all. I was really concerned for her, for myself. I didn't even want to go out. I wanted to go out even less to the gym. She starts going to the gym less and everything. I start getting super anxious, and I start like, my anxiety goes fucking crazy to the point that every single night I start thinking that we're about to get like robbed. Like, you know, someone's about to like knock the door in and try and attack us or some shit. And so I go onto Amazon and order this hammer right here. And I just keep it next to the bed just like this. Like this picture that I've taken is, I promise you, it's like, it wasn't set up or anything. This is how like our apartment looked like. I just had a hammer just there like this, just out in the open. And I kept on visualizing like, oh yeah, like every day. You know what's interesting? The hammer made the anxiety worse because then I almost mentally was rehearsing what I would do. And it kind of like feeded upon itself. So every night when I was going to sleep, I'd end up having like these kind almost like these nightmares, and like I'd hear the smallest noise, and my mind would visualize what I'd do. Okay, I'd grab the hammer, I'd stand up, and I'd get ready. Like, oh, if I ever saw our bedroom door open, okay, I'd grab the hammer, I wouldn't even say anything, I'd just fucking start swinging. And you know how dangerous this could have been. It's a good thing that I'm basically a pussy, because I actually had my friend stay over in our apartment with us. Like, we were about to like fly out to Dubai later on, and I'll explain that in a second. But basically, I had him stay over in the apartments, and me and my girl go to sleep early. He's staying up a little bit late. His friend is going to come over as well, and like he was delayed, whatever, so it's quite late. And out of nowhere, I hear like a bit of a bang and stuff, and so I open my eyes. Me and my girl, like, we're in the, imagine like the middle of REM sleep where you're just fucking, was it really a bang? Like, what the fuck happened? I start like kind of going back to sleep because I didn't realize what it was, and that's when the unthinkable happens. Like, my bedroom door opens, and I've been preparing for this. And so I'm thinking like, well, I thought I would have, grabbed the hammer and went swinging into the door. And I would have really hurt my friend if I did that. It was my friend, right? He opened my bedroom door, and he was so sorry. He was like, he didn't know how to open the fucking front door to let his friend in. And he said, like, when he opened the door, he just like saw from the light that went in of my like, like when you're like in the middle of REM sleep and you can't fucking move if you wake up and stuff. He saw like my scared looking face when he opened the door, and I was like, fuck's sake, it's him. But if I had actually like wasn't a pussy and I had done what I planned that day, I planned, like, oh, if I ever, like, if our apartment ever got, like, raided by a bunch of guys who were trying to rob me, I'd grab the hammer and go swinging. I might have actually fucking hurt him. And so it made me feel like such a fool of, like, just keeping it there made me feel more unsafe. And that was the kind of environment and, the lifestyle I was in. Was like, I was so really genuinely thinking that we were about to be attacked like every single night, because we just didn't feel safe. Imagine like you move to a big city with your girl, and this is the first time you've not only lived in a big city, but also first time you've been to the big city. Like, I think I've been to London like maybe once before this, right? So this was my first time like even being there. I move, I see two like dangerous situations, and I've also got like some kinds of PTSD, repressed trauma from situations, racist attacks and everything that I've been through. And so, yeah, it was just awful for me. So I started getting super anxious every single day. Along with this, we moved to Dubai. Me, my friend, he was the one who walked into our apartment the other day, and my girlfriend as well. So we moved to Dubai, and you don't really cook there. So basically, like, the normal thing in Dubai when you move there is either you get a chef who cooks for you, or every single day you just go to like restaurants and stuff. I think people who have been there for a while often get like chefs, or maybe they do a bit of cooking or something. But really, we were there for like a kind of a 1 or 2 month kind of place. So it was this awkward thing of like we weren't going to get a chef, and like cooking wasn't like that great. The grocery stores are all whack and everything. And so in general, like, you just start ordering food. So this is the kind of food I'd eat beforehand that my girlfriend would cook. Like, this is our home cooked meal, very healthy and everything. And obviously when you're ordering food from restaurants, it's got weird seed oils and extra sugars and everything. You're more likely to get junk food. And then here we are having a business meeting, eating pancakes and shit. And this was like it wasn't always, ridiculous. It wasn't always like pancakes and stuff. But even when you'd order like somewhat healthy food, a lot of it is going to come with like seed oils and sugars. So that started to take a hit onto my health, and then also my physique as well, that we spoke about before. And here's the interesting one that caused a deterioration to my health was air pollution. No one talks about how big air pollution is as a detriment to your health. Have a look at this little chart here. This is, as of today, the worst air quality in the world, like in order. And Dubai is at number 10. How fucked is that? This is where everyone's like moving to. I moved there, and yeah, it's terrible. So basically, air pollution is deadly. It literally makes you more stupid. Like, if you live in a place where there's a lot of air pollution, you probably are like 25% less intelligent than you're supposed to be. Honestly, it's like, it's fucked. It's very similar to like lead poisoning, where in the 18 or 1900s, a lot of young people had lead poisoning because of shit, toxins in the environment. And they ended up becoming literally more likely to be aggressive, violent criminals because they had lead poisoning inside of them. Like, you don't realize pollution and these kinds of things, these toxins, they actually can cause weird things. Like, you'll be more likely to commit a crime, and you'll be more likely to have like symptoms of aggression and violence if you have these. And so with air pollution, what I've known is it can really create like problems in your health, in your mind, in your brain, and it will literally lower, like, it'll make you more stupid. Like, how fucked is that? Like a lot of your success in the modern day, or most of your success in the modern day, most of your livelihood is just based on your intellectual power, isn't it? It's like, can you read good books? Can you understand them? And then can you like perform well in your business career or your studies? And if you're living in one of these countries, which many people are, and you've got some of the worst air pollution in the world, you are literally going to like just perform worse in intellectual things and physical things as well. It's also, if you might not have known this, air pollution is actually one of the biggest causes of illness and death in the world. You've probably heard that, metabolic syndrome is one of the biggest, like, cardiovascular problems. But a lot of that is also caused through air pollution. Think about it. If there's a lot of problems, a lot of like most common death, I think, is from cardiovascular problems, right? It's like, heart disease, whatever. But of course, a lot of that will come down to the air that you breathe if it's not clean. Like, we literally have weird toxins and plastics and smoke and shit through, and dust and sand and stuff going through the air that we're all inhaling. And big cities have horrible air pollution. This is why I have this weird statement that I've been saying to myself. First world countries are so underrated. Like, these days, it's so funny and so cool to shit on first world countries and to like move over to like a third world country, to move over to, like Southeast Asia and stuff. You'd be surprised, like, Thailand's air quality is fucking awful. Like, all these air qualities are awful. Indonesia, where Bali is, awful. Just be careful if you are considering moving to those places. That's why, like, I don't really live in Thailand or Indonesia or Dubai. This is one of the big reasons. So I've put this link here. I know you can't click on it, but I just put it here because most likely I'll forget to put it in the description. But if you can just like search it, it's called iqair.com, and you can go have a look of where your country is on this. What you'll find is, in general, like, the Western first world countries have got way better air quality than the third world countries. And it kind of like, when I first saw this in like start of 2023, it made me like stop this bakwas, this hatred for like, the West. Like, so many people have got this thing of like, yeah, the West is falling, guys. It's like, yeah, but it's also got like clean air, good health standards, clean restaurants where you'll basically never get sick from. And like, this is the kind of stuff that people take for granted. When you move over, like when you fantasize about moving to like Thailand or something, you often don't think about stuff like this. So it's just something to bear in mind, because I was waking up every day with a headache and congested nose, literally. So this really fucked me up, because I seem to be particularly sensitive to air pollution, but everyone does suffer because of it. So when I was in Dubai, coupled with, everything else that we're talking about, I was getting headaches almost every single day. And I started to get like this disgusting, like, congested nose, where I'd wake up, my nose is all, like disgustingly stuffy. You've got like that weird pain, dry thing in your throat, and you kind of go like, you kind of do that shit, and you spit it out, and it was like, like brown and like yellow. Imagine that like every day. What's interesting is, I forgot about this, and recently I was in London again, like a month and a half ago for some events. I was doing some podcasts. And even there, on like the fourth day, like, it wasn't terrible, but like on the fourth day, I had a little bit of this. I had a little bit of that congested nose, and I spat, and it was like this yellowy brown snot. And I was like, oh shit, completely forgot. Like, I'm in London, but like, of course, there's going to be air pollution here. Like, I forgot about that. So I am particularly sensitive. So if, for example, you move over to these places, you might not get this. Like, I've got friends who live in Thailand and they don't get this stuff. But at the same time, no matter what, even if you're not very sensitive to it, everyone's health will suffer when they're in a place which has got high air pollution. You might not be as sensitive as me, but you will undoubtedly be getting like, that small, like almost invisible hidden effect to your health. That if, for example, you lived in a place like that for the rest of your life, you'd probably get like sicker and like old, like 5 years earlier than if you lived in like a first world country like Switzerland or some European country or UK or something, especially if you live more towards the countryside, because there's a lot of like fresh, clean air here that a lot of people take for granted. So around this time then, I had massive business stress as well, because this is just for the creators to understand. If you're like a YouTuber or something, I had a limiting belief that I was a bad person if I tried to sell products, because motherfuckers on the internet usually hate on a creator who tries to monetize. So I hadn't really monetized well throughout my entire time as a YouTuber up until this point. Like, I was a YouTuber for about 2.5 years. And I was always quite scared to sell and to make money because I saw how much hate people would get when they tried to sell a product. And what happened was then the expenses of the business were really high because I was pumping out the videos that guys were saying was changing their lives. So every single day we had a video which had custom animations, custom edits and everything. And videos were very expensive. Like when you have animations, like if you remember the videos I was making back then, the Jeffrey and Adonis ones, that costs a lot. Like you don't realize that takes someone like 10 hours to make the first 30 seconds of the video. You don't realize like it takes, like 10 hours for the entire video and a solid like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours for just the first like 30 seconds where there was a lot of custom animation and they're basically moving it like pixel by pixel. And so yeah, it was very expensive. Along with that, we had everyone's wages and everything. So we were spending like, I don't know, close to about $1,000 a day. Like our expenses were about 30 grand a month. We were spending about $1,000 a day, but we were only getting about 700 back. So imagine that. Imagine you've got a business right now and every single day you spend $1,000, but you only get 700 back. Like that's going to start to stress you out very quickly, right? So we weren't profitable at all. And you know what the worst part about this was? I was still called like a businessman scammer by like little fucking idiot kids on the internet, and that used to like really get to me. Like I was so scared of being called like a businessman and, you know, oh, he's just a salesman. I took that as a big insult for some reason. Like I wanted to be seen as this like wholesome big brother. I'm just here to help you. I'm not an entrepreneur. And it was just a limiting belief because I actually quite liked entrepreneurship, but I just wanted people to basically like me, and I was quite weak in that. So I had to borrow money from my sister as well. How embarrassing is that? I had 1 million something subscribers. I was almost like semi-famous. Like every single day I was being recognized and people were asking me for pictures every single day. I promise. Like literally 5 guys a day. And if I did a little event, we'd have 50, 100 guys turn up and we're all like meeting up together and everything. So I was basically pushing into like fame in some ways, not like huge celebrity level, but like as you know, influencers and stuff go, it was fairly high. And I had to borrow money from my sister. Like how fucking embarrassing is that? Like how crazy is that? Obviously, like I didn't feel embarrassed doing that because, you know, I had to. I didn't have shame to do that because my sister was fine to lend me the money and stuff. But like this was a very tough time because I had a lot of that stress and I had a limiting belief that I couldn't go and make more money. Along with that, I was also posting videos every single day, which meant that I needed to record a video every single day, or you know, technically 7 videos a week. And it was like a constant treadmill that I was just falling off. Like it was really getting to me because I was just burnt out as fuck. My health was already poor. Other things were happening as well. And imagine needing to record a video every single day. So look what I've wrote here. Imagine being in a hot as fuck country, sweating in the bathrobe, because I used to record videos in that blue bathrobe, with a headache and a stuffed nose, needing to record 5 videos because you were too sick the last 5 days. And then imagine if you didn't get 5 videos, you only got 3 and you're just feeling tired and whatever. Now you've got to go and record the other 2 tomorrow, but then also the 3rd one to kind of catch up because of the fact that we're releasing videos every single day. So we needed to add 1 more a day. So it just got like really like fucking hard to keep up with this treadmill. Every single day we were posting a video. And the interesting thing, like the problem was that around this time we were experiencing a huge growth of subscribers. We were getting literally 5 to 10,000 subscribers a day, and yeah, there was a huge growth. Like, and what I was just literally like, you don't know how a creator is doing when they rise to fame, because from the outside around this time when you saw my channel pop off and I was on 1 million subscribers, very quickly got up to like 1.5 million. Everyone thought I was like hot shit, honestly. Like everyone thought like I was doing so well. And no one was there for me. This is what used to hurt. It's like I was basically like suffering in silence. Even the people closest to me, like my girlfriend and my friend there, Sam, it was like no one actually knew how bad things were, of like how bad my health was, how much I was struggling here. And I had support from basically like no one. Like no one was empathetic enough to like help me with that, which is, you know, I'm very sad to say because I wish I had like a support system, but like maybe I've got to take responsibility. Maybe I didn't make it clear how much I was struggling, because it didn't even occur to me to take 2 weeks off, really. Like, and I think the hard part of all this was like I was giving all of my energy to the viewers who were watching me to just try and help them. My business wasn't even making money. My health was deteriorating, and I was literally just fucking running on this treadmill trying to make as many videos as possible, because every day thousands of guys would comment saying that it was changing their lives. And like, no one was there for me. And what's interesting, like, the same fans who I was helping and I was sacrificing myself for were the ones that I now see who like either don't watch me anymore, or like think I'm a bad person now because I don't work in the same way, because I make more money now, because I've monetized better, because I live a lower stress life and I'm not producing as many videos. And so it made me realize that like, I didn't like this game. I didn't like this like influencer who, not even influencer, but leader who sacrifices everything for his people. Because I was a very self-sacrificing person around here. I was literally losing money every day to make these videos, and I was still taking the fucking backlash from people saying that I was still like a scammer businessman or some shit, when obviously I wasn't. It's like, I didn't even see myself as a businessman. I was literally just like a guy who's trying to lead like these young boys into getting onto self-improvement. And when I was struggling, like, you know, when you were struggling, you had my videos. When I was struggling, I had no one and nothing. It really didn't occur to me to even take like a few weeks off. I just kept on trying to stay on the treadmill. And I've got to take responsibility. I'm not blaming other people for this, because this is one of the problems with traditional masculinity, you know, with this like hard discipline mode. Because if you portray yourself as a guy who just like works, people will expect you to keep going if your health is shit. People will have like certain expectations for you. And that's fine when you're feeling healthy and you can push for it and everything. But when your health goes poorly, like, that's when you have this weird pressure to like not take time off. You have this weird pressure to like try and push through it. And also that's when you start producing worse work as well. So yeah, no one really wins when you're this like hardworking guy who's sacrificing your health. Along with that, then I was having worsening relationships. So on and off, I was breaking up with my girlfriend. Like a lot of people don't know this because I didn't speak about it. But when we were in Dubai, like, we broke up like 2-3 times when we were there. Literally, it was awful. We just kept on having like, not really arguments. That's the thing. Me and this girl, like, she's my ex now. Like, but me and her, we never really argued about stuff at all. Like, you know, we had things we would discuss, but there was never like an argument. But it was just like both of us would just get like really like sad and complacent around each other. It was a sad reality when we realized like, we didn't really inspire each other to grow that much. And when we got closer to each other, often we both made the other person quite complacent. And we often didn't like that about ourselves. So we eventually break up fully just before New Year's on 2022, like before 2023. And I send her home from Dubai. Like, you know, we kind of like had some mini splits and stuff where I didn't really speak to her much, even though we were living in the same place in Dubai. But then here, like, was the proper time. And then I fully, like, sent her home, got her the flight home, hugged her goodbye and everything. And that was proper sad. Yeah, we had a lot of, like, incompatibilities in our love, in our relationship. Both of us were quite complacent with each other. But we fought for the relationship because we both thought each other would be an amazing parent. I think that's, at least for me, it was, and I think maybe for her in the same way. Like, we both still loved each other, and, you know, we certainly still had a lot of good times. But often, like, when we lived together, that was the problem. So we'll explain more about this relationship, because I haven't really spoke about her, like, too much of, like, why we split up, because it seemed like an amazing relationship, I think, from, like, the viewer's perspective. But we basically just, when we would live together, we were just very bad at living with each other, like really, really bad. Our lives would get so shit when we'd live with each other. But when we weren't living with each other, our lives would be better. But then there was always pressure from her to like live with each other, because like, how else would we progress the relationship and stuff? And I kind of wish I was never a pussy to like backtrack on my belief there that maybe a man and woman shouldn't be living together, or at least maybe I shouldn't be. But we kept on like fighting for it and stuff, because I basically just thought she would be an amazing mother. That's it. I knew for a fact that there'd be a 0% chance that she'd, for example, traumatize my children, that she'd hurt them, that she'd feed them like bullshit food that you could imagine a lot of like women, like mothers would. She's a very, very healthy girl, very like peaceful girl, amazing listener. And so those were the things I wanted to fight for, because you know, it was nice for me being in the relationship with someone like that, but I really thought, like, for my own children, like, what a gift to have a mother like that. Like, that's what I most admired about her. And I think she felt somewhat similar with me, of like my, you know, the man that I was, the man I was becoming. she saw sides of me that people on YouTube have never seen, where I was very, very like present, very loving. I think if you saw like a video of like me and her, like a real like secret video, like a candid video of like me and her at a restaurant or something, I think you would have saw me and been like, fucking hell, like respect. Like I think you would have saw like just how present and loving and like attentive I was, which I usually was not that kind of person. I'm usually quite like in my own mind and everything. So we had a good relationship on and off, but we also had a lot of incompatibilities, a lot of like, just problems, and both of us just feeling like we just couldn't live with each other. And so it was just this like awkward thing of like, we hated spending, like I hated spending so much time living with a woman. I've always hated living with women. It's just something that like it's part of my values, and it was something she could never understand. Like she wanted to live together, and I just think living together is completely fucking retarded. Maybe I'll change my mind, but like my life has never gotten better from living with a woman, and I think it was something that she just couldn't really understand, and we realized that we were very incompatible with that. So sends her home, and then there's that sort of breakup feeling and everything there as well. So that added to like the negative health there. Along with that, I had a lot of tension with my best friend, the one that I've had some pictures with. So he was my best friend, he was my video editor, and he basically wanted to like grow out of the business. Like he started as my video editor and became more like my right-hand man, because he was amazing to bounce ideas off. We spoke a lot more since this point now, but like around here, like we started to have a lot of tension, arguments, and distance. And I won't lie, like, although it's his responsibility, I blame Andrew Tate a lot for this, because Andrew Tate came on and he put like this sort of main character syndrome in a lot of like young men. And my friend here was very, very susceptible to that. Obviously, like I did a lot of shit wrong, but this was at least my perspective of the situation. That like he was relatively like happy. He had went from zero, like full on like antidepressants, no life at all. Living with his mother in like this, just like he didn't like his life at all. Then I met him. He worked with me, and like he basically scaled up alongside me, became so much cooler, confident, happy, healthier, made pretty good money and everything as a video editor. But then he started to like, because he was watching a lot of Andrew Tate, he kind of wanted to like, he wanted more and more, which I don't blame him for, because it's a normal part of life and everything. But it was like the reason why I bring up Andrew Tate is because we would have like these business discussions where like he'd basically demand more and more from me, but he'd be sat there doing the Tate pose like this, and I just couldn't take it seriously, because I could see like, it's not you. Like I was like, stop it, like that's not you. Like we're best friends and everything. Like why are you acting like this? But it got to the point where like I couldn't give him more. Like I was paying him like a lot of money, like a lot of money, and we wanted to basically just like, he wanted more. He wanted to be more of like the main character and be like the star and everything. And he wanted to do his own thing, basically make his like own channel and everything. We have like these arguments, there's distance and stuff. I'm noticing like I won't shit talk him. I don't mean to shit talk him with everything I've just said. It's just like, this was like, from my perspective of like what I was thinking at the time. And obviously, like I see it from his perspective as well. Basically we just had like a breakup around here. We stopped working together, and he went, and I sat him down, and basically like because I had a lot more business experience than him, I told him, okay, this is like what you could do to like be fine on your own. Make this exact product, make it like this, sell it like this. Like I walked him through the process, and basically we bid each other farewell, and at the end of our sort of working relationship also ended our friendship as well. And I saw him like one last time, like hugged him, and then left. And then I didn't speak to him again for probably around like a year or so, really, or like a good few months. And that was heartbreaking, honestly. Like, no offense to it, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but honestly, this hurt more than my actual breakup, honestly. Like, breaking up with a best friend is worse, in my opinion, than breaking up with a girlfriend, because like, that's your fucking brother. Do you know what I mean? Like, I saw him as like my little brother, and not in a condescending way, but I'm older than him and stuff. But I saw him as like my little brother, and it hurt when that dynamic changed. But I could see why, because he didn't want to be like little bro anymore, and I could see why. But it always used to hurt, because I used to think like, why does it have to be like you see yourself as like, oh, but I need to be the main character? Like, you are the main character in your life. It's just that like on my channel you're not, because it's my channel. But like, he wanted his own, whatever, he wanted his own thing. But yeah, so we ended up like somewhat amicably, like not in any kind of aggressive way, kind of hugging it out one last time and then basically going our separate ways and then not really speaking after that. So I find myself at this point across the world from everything that I know with no girlfriend, no friend, with a business that's failing. It's fucking tough, isn't it? I had this medical condition that you might actually have, which is called a varicocele. And it reduces your testosterone and fertility. So you might want to just check if you've got this right now. Basically, like if you feel your balls, you have like, you know, some kind of like veins and shit that are attached to your balls. But if it's more like this, where there's a bigger clump of them and it feels more like a thick clump of like veins, like a bag of worms, that could be a varicocele. And I don't know exactly what happens, but basically, like the way I see it is like the veins in your balls like swell up and get tangled or some shit, right? If you can kind of feel that above your testicles, you might have this. And I was kind of lazy with it. You know, I first noticed it in about 2019, and I went to multiple doctors in the UK, and they said it was fine. What a lot of people don't know is like with this kind of stuff, particularly like men's issues, the NHS, like the UK's health service, is complete and utter shit. Do not trust like some dickhead doctor in the UK for this kind of stuff. Like the NHS is amazing. Like doctors are amazing for emergencies. Like if you get hit on the road or whatever, you know, you don't get some medical bill, they'll go and treat you up, and it's amazing. Like emergency service is amazing here. But in terms of these like long-term symptoms that won't kill you, especially particularly things that like will, for example, lower your testosterone or fertility, the system here is very sexist and they don't care about men at all. That's my conclusion from this. But yeah, I went to see multiple doctors, had to wait months to, you know, see them and everything, and then see them and then not get taken seriously, and they say no, it's fine, you don't have it. One time they did a scan in like 2021 and they were like, nope, nothing there. And I was like, no, there fucking is. Like I literally, like, I feel it, I know it, I know the symptoms, I've researched it a lot, I know it is. Scan it again. But they like basically just kept on saying like, no, I was fine. Different doctors as well. In Dubai, I'm sick of this, and I'm thinking, you know what? Like, I know for a fact this is a problem. I know that it reduces testosterone, fertility. It's getting more and more painful. So I was like, fuck it. Like, and I went through the process to book in the surgery here. The surgery is like, it's not like as sensitive as you think. Basically, they'll make like a cut on like your stomach, go in there and end up like fixing these like thicker veins or some shit like that. It's not like they don't like rip open your balls or anything like that. So the problem was that the night before the surgery, so my girlfriend's gone, but I'm still friends with my friend. Me and him haven't had the breakup just yet, although, like, you know, there is the tension there. I have the surgery the next day, and for some reason I think it's a good idea to meet everyone and party and smoke cigars and drink alcohol and staying up late. So we have, like, I think it was either this night where we had a party, or it was this was more of like a meetup, and like 10 people came over to my apartment and we stayed up late till like 3 a.m. I had the surgery at like 8, so I barely got any sleep. I drank a lot of alcohol, and the worst thing was that I smoked cigars. You see everyone online smoking cigars, being cool, basically just pretending that they're Andrew Tate, and none of them actually talk to you about like the problem with it. All of them cite the same fucking study that says it increases testosterone. But I look back to this because this was so idiotic to not prioritize your health before a surgery. I didn't respect the surgery. I just kind of like, you know, didn't think it was that big. If I'm honest, which is a bit cringe to say, but I really like the validation of like the people who I was hanging out with who were like, oh, don't you have a surgery tomorrow? Almost like, you know, with this, like a smile on their face of like, oh, haha, it's so crazy that you're staying up late and you're drinking because you've got a surgery tomorrow. Haha, like that kind of vibe. And I like the attention. But really what happened the next day was I went into the surgery and I wake up in ICU, the intensive care unit. As my eyes open, the only thing I can think of is I need water so badly. My throat is the driest it's ever been in my life. like, I can't explain it. Imagine your throat is so dry that you literally can't even breathe. Like, every breath, you know for a fact you're about to like cough. Like, so I was coughing like fucking crazy. And when you're coughing, all I could see was like the little thing that they put on me filling up with blood. And I was like, it was like fucking traumatic. I was like, what the fuck? There was blood everywhere, like inside of this little oxygen mask and shit. And I was coughing everything. And the doctor comes up, and I take the mask off, and she puts it back on, and I literally like try and say to her, like, water, like I need water so badly, and she won't give it to me because they thought I'd choke on it. So imagine, like, it was fucking awful. It was literally so weirdly traumatic. I was choking on my own blood waking up from this surgery. What happened was I had complications with the general anesthetic, which is it's something that a lot of people don't know, but like, you know, when you're a child, you go for like some kind of surgery for whatever reason, and it feels like it's like oddly almost like a weirdly fun experience because everyone's paying attention to you, and you know you're going to be fine, you're invincible and everything. Let me just tell you something right now. Like, you don't want to have surgeries when you're an adult because you then realize how unhealthy it is. Like, it's actually so risky. So general anesthetic, if you didn't know, I think the statistic, like you could go research this, but when I saw it, it blew my mind. 1 in 250 people die from it. That's what I saw online. Maybe I've read it wrong. Surely I've read it wrong. But general anesthetic is when they put you to sleep, and the complications of it are extremely likely because think about it. It's someone putting in a substance that literally shuts your body off. Really think about that. So of course there's going to be some kind of complications, like, you know, a high percentage likelihood. And so I basically disrespected the seriousness of the surgery by staying up late and not being in this peak health. And literally, it was so painful and uncomfortable being here. And I was choking. I was like coughing so much. My oxygen rate was like so low. I couldn't breathe properly. They do like this test to see that like my oxygenation rate was like 78, 80% when it should be more like 99, 96%. I don't know exactly what it was, but basically like they were telling me like I have to get to like about 96% like oxygenation, like how well you breathe. And mine was about 80, which is apparently like very, very low. And this was the moment that changed it all this like, you know, bad health moments. The doctor walks in and he looks at me like I'm a fucking idiot because me and him had been talking all this time. You know, I saw the doctor a bunch of times, and, you know, he'd always ask me like, what do I do? And I told him I'm like a YouTuber, and he's like, oh, what kind of videos? And to make it simple, I said like fitness instead of telling him like misogynistic hate videos on women and shit and fapping and stuff. So I just told him like fitness, and he could see it from me that, you know, I was in pretty good shape, like okay shape. And I would talk a lot about, martial arts and bodybuilding and stuff. You know, he'd ask me and he'd say like, and you know, like in our conversations, one time he went like, and what do I do with this? Like, he had a bit of a fat stomach and everything. So he walks in and he looks at me like, you know, he's been given the report or something of what's happened. And he went, why can't you breathe? He looks at me as if I'm an idiot who's deciding not to breathe. And he says this, he says, you're a fit young guy. You're an athlete. He looks at me like that. And I felt so ashamed when I told him like, oh yeah, I smoked a cigar yesterday. I said it with such a wimpy little pussy, like, you know, mannerisms. And he looked at me like almost like he was my mother, and he kind of like looked like just as if I was like a young, dumb idiot. And then, you know, he spoke a little bit more, then he left. And that's the bit that changed me, because I was like, holy fuck, like I've been playing up to this guy like I'm this athlete and stuff, and I'm fucking not. Like, I haven't even exercised in the last like 3 months. I've been smoking and drinking. Like, you know, the night before the surgery wasn't the first time I was smoking cigars, trying to be like Tate, like, yeah, it's cool. Like, I don't fucking like smoking. I had a bunch of shisha and shit. Like, yeah, it's like, it's cool and stuff. I don't give a fuck about being cool. Like, I liked being an athlete, and this fucking hurt me so much. It fucked with my identity of myself, because I saw myself as a completely different kind of guy. And so when he said that, and by the way, I had to stay in ICU like this for about 10 hours, like in this painful, like I was supposed to get out by about like 1 p.m. or even earlier from the surgery. It was supposed to be a very quick surgery, by the way. It's supposed to be like a 45-minute surgery. You recover for like 2 hours, you go home. Me and my friend had like plans for what we were going to do. Like, I was going to go home, rest, and get pizza and everything. I was in there till midnight. Imagine you've got plans to go eat and everything. You're not allowed to eat all day. You're choking on your own fucking blood. You keep coughing and like a little bit of blood comes out. You're looking at this little rate, oxygenation rate thing, and it's like 91%. Nope, it needs to get to like 96 before you're allowed to go home. I'm trying to breathe, but I keep choking and all this shit, and it's just pissing me off. And I was just there, just overthinking, thinking like, I'm a fucking athlete. Why the fuck did I smoke yesterday? Why the fuck am I here? This happens, like what my doctor said. This happens to old, unhealthy people, like, complications in surgery. It shouldn't happen to someone like me. It was fucking with me so much, and I was so pissed off and so disappointed by the way that I'd been living, like all this stuff that I let slack, all this stuff that was affecting me. This was the first time where I really got pissed off in it, when I was like, I needed to create a change. So all of this stuff, I first started with sacrificing exercise for business. I had a worse physique, the London anxiety, eating out, the London and Dubai air pollution, the business stress, the worsening of relationships, the breakup with my girl, and then my friend, the varicocele, party the night before, surgery like an idiot, and then finally the surgery and the complications led me to the worst health that I had had, and also a big breakthrough where I was just done, and I was like, wait, I miss being a healthy athlete. Like, that's the stunt. The stunt isn't being sat there smoking cigars, trying to look cool like a knobhead, like doing the fucking Tate sign and saying that you're a high value man. The stunt is like being fucking supremely, really healthy, being in incredible shape. And I realized I went about it the wrong way. So that covers everything I did, everything that made my health worse. Now let's go over how I improved my health. So this is just a few months later, and suddenly I'm back in shape. I'm going on adventures and stuff, and I'm going out on runs. You can see how I'm looking like lean and everything. So what improved my health? Well, there's a few things. The two realizations: I moved back home. I started training hard again. I had the psychological benefit of fitness and my physique improving. I improved my appearance. I had all my meals cooked at home. My relationship incredibly improved, and I had absolutely no drinking or smoking. Let's go through them. So the two realizations that I had that caused the change in the first place was obviously the doctor reminding me of my athlete identity, because self-image is a powerful thing. And when he said this, it's instantly clicked, and it made me realize, like, oh shit, like, I'm not that athlete anymore, and I need to get back to it. Like, this was the awareness I needed, that I didn't even realize I had deviated from that, like, athlete identity that I had, and that I needed to bring it back again. So this was the first thing. The second realization that I had was actually 2 YouTube videos by a YouTuber entrepreneur named Alex Becker. And the video titles are Why, as a Millionaire, I Own Nothing, and I Spent Millions on Garbage. Basically, it's this entrepreneur talking about the same thing that I went through, which is that you start scaling up your business just trying to make money, and you're sacrificing everything to just make money, and you start having a worse life, and also in a weird way a worse business because of that, and you lose a lot of freedom and fulfillments, which were the reasons why you became a businessman in the first place. And he breaks it down, like, most likely, no offense, but if you watch these videos, it won't do that much for you, because you're not at this level where, like, you've had the huge rise in money and everything, although you might go still learn some lessons from the videos. But what he said exactly happened to me, where I achieved like total freedom at the start of 2022. I was making $20,000 a month. I could travel to anywhere I want. I could afford like a motorbike. I had a motorbike here in the UK, and I could travel. I could stay in villas. I could go to the fancy gym, buy all the food I wanted. I had freedom. I lived at home, but I didn't mind living at home. I had all the freedom. And I then replaced that freedom for expenses, and I moved over to Dubai. I had the expensive apartments. I became in debt. I needed to grind out videos, and then my videos were worse. And basically everything he said came true. And I was like, oh shit, like I went about business in the wrong way. And so it was actually this video and the next one, I Spent Millions on Garbage, that I watched in Thailand before I moved back home. So when I was in Dubai, I had that surgery. I stayed in Dubai for a few more weeks, and I realized I didn't want to be there. It was so expensive, and also I just didn't like there. I didn't enjoy being there. I wanted to get more into martial arts because I was really enjoying it, and I felt like that would be like the new kind of focus for me once I took a step back from YouTube. What I should have known is like I didn't really want to take a step back from YouTube. I just needed a break, honestly. Like I literally just needed like 2 weeks off. I hadn't taken a week off YouTube or 2 weeks off YouTube like since I started, like 1.5 years or 2 years before that point, literally for 2 years. Like, yeah, I took like, you know, a few days trips here and there, but through those trips I still worked anyway. I still took my laptop, still recorded videos, still did like YouTube work. So I hadn't actually taken time off. I hadn't like missed the daily upload. And so I was completely and utterly burnt out that like when I was in Dubai, I moved to Thailand, and I assumed, oh yeah, like I'm quitting YouTube and I'm just going to become like a full-time MMA fighter instead. You know, it was like this wild little dream I had of like, yeah, what do I want to spend my time doing? Just because I had rinsed out YouTube so much to the point that I was completely burnt out and disinterested. Again, like I just needed to take a few weeks off. The idea didn't even come into my mind, honestly, because I thought the idea of like taking a few weeks off was like too much of a pussy thing. Like Andrew Tate wouldn't take 2 weeks off, right? That kind of mindset. So yeah, I'm like in the middle of Thailand. I go to the martial arts camp, realize, wait, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, why would I want to become a professional martial arts person? Like, I've already got my business. I already make more money than basically 99% of the fighters ever would. And the only fighters that make more money than me are the ones who have a personal brand, and the business I'm building is a personal brand anyway. So it just started, like, it stopped making sense. I was like, why the fuck am I there? And I left in one day. And what a lot of people don't know is I didn't go home straight away. I went to a different part of Thailand. I went to Chiang Mai, and I stayed there for a few weeks with my girl, trying to figure out what to do with my life. And so every day, like, I started to train harder. But I was trying to figure out, like, you know, what do I do? Should I go back to the island that my friend Sam is on and try and be friends with him again? Should I go and still do the martial arts thing? Should I move back to Dubai? Should I move to a different country? I was literally playing around like I had no idea what to do. And I ended up stumbling upon this video. And it just made me think like, oh shit, like one of the things he said was your greatest fulfillment will just come from your work when you're actually working on something, like not just for the money, but for the work itself and the impact it creates. And I missed that. I was like, oh, like I completely forgot that feeling because I've been so burnt out. But I actually really enjoy business and entrepreneurship and seeing that grow. And I started to step into this new version of me where I was like, wait, like I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never had the courage or the confidence to be able to say that because I thought people on YouTube would like judge me for it and hate me. But I realized like anyone who actually likes the real me will think like, oh yeah, like me too, Hamza, I want to be an entrepreneur as well. If Hamza becomes an entrepreneur and teaches us lessons, then that's better for me. And I was like, oh shit, like all this time I've been showing a different version of myself to try and appeal to the masses. But if I show the real me who's actually interested in business, I'd attract people who are interested in business as well. And of course, like I'd piss off the little 14-year-olds who think that business is a scam or something, but they can get fucked anyway. And so I started to feel like more, and I was like, oh shit, like I might go all in on business. That's my sport. Like I thought it was going to be martial arts, but my sport is the sport of entrepreneurship. It's not like a physical sport, but it's like an intellectual competitive sport. And I was like, that's what my sport is. That's what I should go competitive in. And so I was randomly, you know, in this random city in Thailand with my girl, no one else around me. And I was like, fuck it, we're going back home. And, it was, you know, it felt like a brave decision because I had lived away from home now for over 6 months, 7 months. I officially moved out months earlier. I had lived in different places. I moved to Scotland. I moved to London. I moved to Dubai. Then I moved to Thailand. I moved like all over. And I was thinking, wait, if I go back home, like it's a big hit to my ego, my status. If I go back home, like, but the West is falling. You know, I went through so much like propaganda of like this online masculinity space that, yeah, the West is falling and it's so, you know, so bad to be here. And I agree, like, yeah, London mostly is like a bit of a shithole, but like, I knew that my area, like I was happy and healthy here. And, yeah, so I decided to go home. And I say to my girl, actually, this was the point. I don't think I've said this, but I look over to her and I say, like, this is the way, like, we go back home. And we were living together again, you know, in Thailand. And, you know, it wasn't like amazing, but it was better than it was in Dubai because I was less stressed and we were both healthier. And she didn't want to because at home, like we live hours away. And so she has to basically have her own life. Like she lives at home with her parents. I live at home with mine. And she liked, not living with her parents. She liked living with me and stuff. But I told her, like, I didn't expect her to come with me. I met her in Thailand, and here we were in Thailand, and I was telling her to come back home with me. And so I gave her the option, and I said, I can get you a flight to the island in Thailand that you love, and I can like cover like the first month there for you. But obviously, like, we'll split up if you choose that option, or you can just come back with me, take the risk, and like see what happens. And she actually did think about it, and she decided to come back with me. So got us business class flights, which was the first time that she flew business. This was the second time I flew business class. So she was like proper excited. Whoa, like you get like snacks and stuff. We fly back home. She flies to London. We get like the same flight to Dubai, and then we fly back home separately. So she gets a flight to London from Dubai. I get a flight to Manchester, and I'm close to my place. And so then that starts like this chapter of like improving my health. So I move back home. I moved to this stable environment where I can put my head down and go into monk mode and just make amazing progress to my goals and feel fulfilled. I basically had like 3 goals, which was become a better businessman, get into better shape, like get more fit, and also improve my relationship with my girl. So I moved back home. I've got this like perfect, stable environment and this like clean, fresh air. And I have to pay UK taxes again. But I'm like, I actually thought, you know what, like I won't lie to you, like the first few weeks I was debating, like, should I just go back to Dubai because the West is falling type of shit. I still had that kind of mindset. But eventually I thought, you know what, fuck it. Like I'd pay a percentage of my income, like my profits, for the ROI, the return on investments for living in a clean, healthy place. Like I was like, yeah, fuck it. Like imagine if you were in Dubai, you're like some millionaire. How much would you pay to have better health that comes from the better, like fresh air? Probably like a good deal of your pay or your profit. Probably you would, like, because it means a lot, like to have clean, fresh air and to have like real nature, not like artificial shit next to you. And so I was like, fuck it. Like, what if I just stayed here and just paid the tax? Like, my tax will be insane. Like, I knew this. I knew that I would become like rich as fuck over the next year. I knew it. Like my business was almost like all fucked up and everything. But I knew that like I'd be making hundreds of thousands a month from this point. And I thought like, oh shit, like my tax will be about 20, 30, 40,000 a month. But I was like, fuck it. Like I'll pay that to be somewhere that I actually love being. And so I decided to be here then. So I started training hard again. This is just a random screenshot from like, just a random run, nothing too significant, but I just found the picture. I started training every single day. In fact, the first thing I did when I came back home, I think this was the first day I came back home, I went for like a massive walk, went for like a little run and everything, and fresh air. Like there was like a cold breeze. This was in about March. And that meant a lot to me because for the last few months, I had been in Dubai and then Thailand for about 4 or 5 months straight in that like hot, humid air pollution. And then imagine you come back home to your own country in like March and it's like, it was a little bit frosty. It was cold. Like you breathe outside. It was like crispy air, really fresh air, clean air, no air pollution. It meant a lot to me to be back there. Like it was so like refreshing to have clean air around and like the crispiness and also the cold compared to the 4 months that I was in like the boiling hot heat with. And so I'm training every single day. I'm doing the home workouts. I'm doing cardio. I got my love for the training again. And I'm getting the health benefits from exercise, which of course are massive. And not only that, I'm also getting the health benefits from being outside, being in nature, getting a bit of daylight as well, because I'm training a lot outdoors. Along with that, then, of course, my physique improves and I get the psychological momentum of seeing like my fitness and my physique improve. So my physique's instantly, like within, 1 or 2 months improved because obviously I've got like muscle memory and whatever. And this was probably like 2 months or so after I came back home. I had already had that 1 month in Chiang Mai that I trained a little bit harder as well. But I get like a nice physique going again. And of course, I feel like really nice about that. Like I've got this amazing V-taper, caps delt. Imagine you look at yourself in your shape like this. You can't help but to like not feel proud of yourself. So I started to feel like happier throughout the day. I'm proud of myself. I'm hype flexing in the mirror. Like that means a lot to me. Like think about like how nice it is when you've got a good physique that you randomly will see yourself and you'll like flex with a massive smile on your face and everything. Like that's like lovely to have. And it's a good boost to your health because you feel happy to be you. Along with that, I also improved my appearance, and I am quite sure that like when you improve your appearance, you will often feel healthier because of not just the appearance itself, but like what it means, because you'll be more confident, you'll go outside more, you'll be more social, and you'll speak to more people. So I went from that like, oh yeah, I don't care what I look like kind of mode to like, you know, getting cleaner facial hair, getting like a cleaner haircut. Like my hair's not like styled there, but you get what I mean. Like I've got like the cleaner look and everything. And so that got me a little bit more confidence. I also cooked. Or I don't cook actually, but I got like my mum and also my girlfriend when she would come over like once a week to like cook for me and make home cooked meals and everything. So I'd eat out maybe like 1 or 2 times a week just for fun. But basically all of my normal meals were all at home with healthy ingredients, no seed oils, and I was doing a bunch of extra research on what's the word, like health and everything. So this is when I discovered things like seed oils, and I started the elimination diet. So basically I just started to take out, I went on like a very simple diet where I only had like 1 ingredient food. So you can see like I've just got like, you know, halloumi, cucumber and tomatoes and chicken and stuff and onions. I went on that instead of having like some weird processed thing that you get from the store that you put into the oven or some shit. I had like very like clean, unprocessed, healthy ingredients, and I started to feel better and better and better. And I realized that when I have almost only just meat, that's when I feel like often the best. So I went on a diet that really helped me. So me and my girl are together, and like she would come over like once a week. This is a picture when I took her out on a run, and then she was trying to keep up with my pace, and she's like fighting demons in the back. So both of us are happier and healthier, which obviously really improves your health. Both of us individually are happier and healthier because we've come back to countries, our home country, and we've both been like exercising more. She was doing a lot of like cold exposure at the time. I was doing some as well, but both of us were doing a lot of like training, like, you know, separately in our own homes. And then our relationship improved because naturally because I was healthier, I was like reading more. I was reading books on like love and stuff. And I realized that like I wanted to open up, that I had always had like trust issues and anxieties in relationships. And I became way more vulnerable with that. Not in a pussy way that a lot of these like online people will tell you to like open up. Like I did it through like a place of strength, not in like a pussy way. Like I didn't come to her crying and showing her my emotional side or anything, but rather I said to her like in more of like an attractive way of like me showing her deeper parts of myself. So it made it almost like intoxicating. Like she wanted to hear more about me and the deeper parts of myself, where I spoke about, you know, like I had always had trust issues in every relationship that I've been in, and every, you know, like I've been fucked up as like a child and everything, right? And with that vulnerable conversation, we basically like realized I was always anxious in our relationship, but that it was actually getting a lot better because now she knew, and she was getting, you know, she was putting in the effort for that. Along with that, she was basically carrying the relationship because I was working like 12, 14 hours a day and every day. And she would come over on like Saturday. She'd drive hours to come see me for like literally from Saturday at like 2 p.m, stay over till Sunday at like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. when I would wake up. She'd wake up with me and then drive home. So she'd literally like drive about 9 hours, 10 hours to come see me for like 6 hours of daylight together. So huge effort from her. And it felt awesome to have like this secure feeling inside of a relationship for the first time. When you have an improved relationship, then inevitably like your health improves as well. Your mental health improves. I'm not feeling as anxious anymore. And also there's research to prove that your physical health will even improve when you get into a good relationship as well. Obviously you're wondering like, wait, you split up. We split up for like completely different reasons and everything. But at least around here, it was an awesome time. Like I only have respect for her. A lot of people have asked me like, have I spoke to her? No, I've literally not spoke to her in months and months and months. But she's a woman I just have a lot of respect for and a lot of like admiration for. So it would be remiss to not mention how much this bit here helped my health overall, because she really helped me. In lots of ways. She was healthier than I was, and so she taught me a lot about healthy ingredients and everything. I didn't even know what seed oils were before I met her, actually. And having someone who's like more serious about their health and diet than you naturally means that you start caring about it as well. So it was awesome to be around someone who was that healthy. I know she doesn't look healthy. So I also improved my health by absolutely no drinking or smoking. I was in a very like healthy lifestyle. I just started to like go out on runs almost every single day. I wasn't like a professional big runner or anything. I literally never even did like a 10K. I would just go like a short 20-minute jog. Like I've never done anything huge. Like I've never been the huge kind of run. Just if you're interested, because I know people run like 10, 20, 30Ks. Like it's normal. For me, I only ever did like 15, 20, 25-minute runs because I've got fairly bad joints. I get like knee pain and stuff after running and stuff. So I only keep it short, but I was going almost every day and I was exercising. So in 2023, I basically didn't drink at all. Like I think in the first few days I did when I was in Dubai, because, you know, I was in Dubai at the start of the new year. But then from that, all of the year straight, I didn't drink at all. I wasn't a huge drinker beforehand, but I was just, you know, I'd drink maybe 10, 20 times a year or something. But I was so ashamed of drinking and smoking before that surgery that I just wanted to like push away from it. And I saw it as like evil poison and everything. The same with smoking as well, because I had this athlete identity. I'm a healthy guy. I don't put these weird toxins and stuff inside of my body. So we covered everything that I did to improve my health. I had the two big psychological like insights, the realizations that caused the change. I moved back home. I was training hard again. I had the psychological benefit of my physique. I also looks maxed, which made me more confident. My meals were all cleaner. My relationship improved and I had no drinking. This is what I looked like before, and you can see it encapsulates like the life I was living, and then this is after. So we covered those two things. And finally, just the protocol, just an easy one, like of what I would recommend. This is what I'd say is just the most important in order from you improving your health. I actually think the first most important thing is having a stable environment that you love. Like when you really think about it, the downfall of my health started when I moved to London. Like my health was absolutely fine before that, but I moved to an environment that, one, I didn't love, two, I didn't feel safe in, didn't feel clean, and it also didn't feel stable because I didn't want to be there and I knew I'd be soon leaving. The same with Dubai as well. And so I think, for at least for me and what we've discussed today, the stable environments was the most important that I had eventually when I moved back home. That's why I've always had like a love for this place where I live in right now. Like truthfully, like I make a lot of money and I don't need to be here. Like I live with my family still in my little childhood house. I don't need to be here. I could go rent my own place, but this has been like the most stable environment I've had in my life. When I rent my own place, it's like suddenly like you move to like a city and it's not as like clean. There's a random crackhead who walks past you. That stuff like gets to me. Like I don't like being around like dirtiness. I don't like being around crime. I don't like being around like, you know, like you walk past a group of fucking youths and stuff who are all hoodied up and stuff. You walk past like graffiti and litter on the floor. That stuff really makes me feel unsafe. Like I just have the confidence to admit that I'm naturally quite an anxious guy. So I don't like that shit. And so I've always liked being here. So if there's one thing you are experiencing in terms of with your health, make sure that you just go and get into like a stable environment that you love. That might be your home with your family, but it might also not be, because with your family home, it's not stable. Like I have friends and stuff who their home life is not stable at all. And so they've done so much better when they moved out. Along with that, also the daily hard workout, you can just not sacrifice that at all. Doesn't really even matter what workout it is, although I do feel like cardio seems to give you a better health benefit than bodybuilding. But still, it's like as long as you just do a daily hard workout for about an hour, you've got so many benefits. And when I skip this, when I take days off, when I don't train 7 times a week, that's when I feel it. You might think, wait, but you need to like recover and stuff. Yeah, in bodybuilding, you might not want to go 7 days a week, but you can absolutely exercise 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can exercise that much. You just basically can't do the same thing. So you might not want to run long distance every single day. But your body was made to basically move. You were made to not like sit around randomly. Like it would have been like, it just almost seems absurd for a human being, like an animal. Like if you imagine our caveman days, that we would have spent like multiple days a week or a month just kind of waking up and then just sitting in the same spot, staring at the same little screen. Like that's so unnatural. We would have walked 10, 20,000 steps. We would have hunted. We would have played. We would have, you know, like done loads of things, physical activity. We would have been outside in the grass, in the sunlight. And a lot of people don't have that. So I'd push you have a hard workout every single day. Even if you're a bodybuilder who trains 3, 4, 5 times a week, find a way to just get in the other days. So it's literally 7 days a week at the same time you go out and do some kind of hard workout, and you get extra mental health points if you go and do that workout out in nature. If you just go for a bit of a jog, nothing's too serious, like a 2-3K run, 15 minutes through like the woods next to your house or something, you'll find that you'll get a big boost by doing that. The elimination diet helped me a ton as well. What I found was that when I stopped eating out from restaurants, my anxiety improved a lot. I didn't realize how much of anxiety actually comes from the food that you eat because of the inflammation that it's caused. But I have a very simple elimination diet. Like I only eat like a few ingredients now, and it served me really well. I mostly am on like keto carnivore. Like I just eat meat and cheese and eggs basically. And I feel awesome. I have no anxiety whatsoever. I feel strong. My testosterone feels really fucking high from like this high fat diet. Like every day, honestly, it feels like I'm a teenager. Like I have like painfully hard fucking every morning. There was a time when like all that time when I was unhealthy, I wasn't even getting like morning wood or anything. Now with this diet, I eat 10 eggs a day with a fuck ton of cheese and red meat and stuff. I'm telling you, like every morning my dick's fucking hard, bro. And I'm almost 27 as well, so it stopped, you know, morning wood stopped for me. But it's fucking awesome being on the elimination diet and just having a fuck ton of high fats. And then relationships is the last thing. If you're having deteriorating relationships, your health is going to get fucked up as well. But if you can improve your relationships through things like authenticity, vulnerability, and having those deep conversations, you might just find of just how much extra zest you have in life, where you've got a smile on your face because things are going so well with your friends, with your family, with your girlfriend. So that meant a lot to me. Like I said, that relationship ended, but it served me really well, and I got a lot of learning lessons. And through the year of 2023, we were quite happy. We weren't living together, so that's probably why. But like, yeah, we were quite happy, and both of us had like a lot of growth through this year when I became healthier, and so did she as well. So I hope this helps you. Basically, my promise to you was that I'll teach you how I fucked up my health, which I did, and then how I improved my health, which I did teach you. So hopefully you can just fast track the process. And I hope, most likely, if you've watched all this, it's most likely just going to be a reminder of things that you already knew. But sometimes you just kind of forget that, right? Sometimes you end up stumbling down the Andrew Tate rabbit hole and you're like, oh yeah, I won't go to the gym anymore because it's a waste of time. Like, obviously he trains a lot, but his mindset was like not going to the gym and rather training at home. But he has a home gym. I didn't know that. Like, I just had a little shitty apartment that I was trying to like do push-ups in and stuff. And so if it's just a reminder, I hope that serves you well. We've covered everything that I promised to you, which was what caused my health to deteriorate, how I improved my health, and the protocol of like the 80-20 what I'll focus on. And the final thing, the top link in the description, go and get the emails that I've mentioned because you'll like them. If you've watched all this far, you clearly have a high attention span and you probably like reading as well, maybe with like a cup of coffee every morning or something. I personally write these emails personally, no ghostwriter or anything. And I make them really detailed, really practical and everything. So I'd say go and sign up right now. Use that top link in the description and do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.